Hi everyone and welcome. Today we are going to discuss about the basic of law of evidence. So let's come into our first slide where we are going to discuss about what is evidence. So the law of evidence, which is categorized as adjective law, while substantive law defines our rights, like what constitute a breach of contract, the law of evidence provides the procedure to enforce those rights. It is governed by the principle of lex fori, which means the rules of evidence are determined by the laws of the jurisdiction where the case is being heard. So, as we can see here, the evidence refers to any material, document, or testimony that is presented in the court to prove or disapprove a fact in issue. Also, it include oral statement, documents, and physical proof that helps determine the fact in issue. So, our goal today is to understand how a court moves from a state of uncertainty to judicial certainty through the structure of application of legal proof. So let's come into our second slide where we are going to talk about the legal framework which includes fact in issue versus relevant fact. To understand evidence law, we must distinguish between two types of fact. First, we have the factum probandum, or which is known as fact in issue. This is the bone of contentions, the ultimate fact that must be proved to win the case. However, we rarely prove a crime or a debt directly. Instead, you use factum probans, or which is known as relevant facts. These are surrounding circumstances, for example, like motive, preparation, or subsequent conduct, that the law allows us to use to point toward the truth of the main issues. So, legally speaking, if a piece of information does not fall into one of these two criteria, it is extraneous, and the judge usually reject it immediately. Now, let's come into our second slide where we are going to talk about relevancy and admissibility. So as we can see, relevancy, it means governed by logic and human experience. Admissibility, where it's talk about a strict legal concept, even logically relevant fact may be excluded by law. Here, we can understand that one of the most common mistake is assuming that if something is relevant, it is automatically allowed in court. But this is not true. Relevancy is a matter of logic, but admissibility is a matter of law. For instance, if a suspect confessed to a priest or to his lawyer, that confession is logically relevant. It proves that they did it. However, under the point of law regarding privileged communications, that evidence is often inadmissible. The law of evidence acts as a strict filter to ensure that only legal obtained and legal recognized fact forms the basis of judgment. It also talks about rule of law, which says that all admissible evidence is relevant, but not all relevant evidence is admissible. Now, in the next slide, we're going to talk about the classification of evidence. Here we have primary and secondary evidence, direct and hearsay evidence, or oral and documentary evidence. So basically, the law categorized evidence to ensure reliability. The best evidence rule dictates that primary evidence. They are basically considered the most important one, and they are basically the original document or the actual object. They are always preferred. And then we have secondary evidence. They are like photocopy. It is only permitted if the original is proved to be lost or destroyed. Similarly, we can distinguish between direct evidence and hearsay. The law generally finds hearsay inadmissible because the person who actually witnessed the event isn't there to be cross-examined, which violates the principle of a fair trial. In the eye of law, the closer the evidence is to source, the higher it is probative values. Now we have oral and documentary, which talk about all fact except the content of documents may be proved by oral evidence. Now we have a burden of proof and presumptions. Finally, we look at the burden of proof. In any legal proceeding, the person who asserts a fact must be proved. In criminal law, this burden is heavy because of presumption of innocence. The state must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. However, the law also uses presumption to speed up trials. For example, if a child is born during a valid marriage, the law conclusively presumes legitimacy. These laws prevent the court from having to reprove basic facts of human existence and legal status in every single case. So let's come into our conclusion where we can just conclude, since it is a vital to remember that the law of evidence serves as the gatekeeper of the courtroom. Its primary duty is to bridge the gap between that is known and what is legally, it's basically talk about what is known and what is legally proven. We need to understand the difference between these two things. So we have seen that the law does not care about every fact, it only care about relevant facts and fact and issue. It prioritizes the best evidence rule to ensure reliability and strictly filter out hearsay to protect the right of cross-examination. So ultimately, these rules exist to strike a delicate balance. They empower the court to find the truth while simultaneously protecting the citizen from unfair or unreliable accusations. As the legal magazine suggests, justice must not only be done but must be seen to be done. The law of evidence is the framework that makes that visibility possible. It ensures that every judgment is anchored in logic, fair, and strict application of the law. Thank you.